Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone who has joined, depending on where you are joining us from. Thank you for joining this first of a series of virtual summer welcomes. My name is Sana Nelson, and I am the Alumni Relations Officer working for the Families and Alumni Relations Department at RISD. We're very grateful to have you join. We're very excited about the upcoming year, and we have created this as part of a series of events to be able to give you a sense of what the RISD experience is like. This event specifically is a little bit more targeted towards international students and families, because many of our panelists are coming with this international perspective. And they're excited to share it with you today. As far as registrations, we're excited that we have about 69 to 70 people joining us and representing 13 different countries, including the US, China, India, Thailand, Canada, Ghana, Hong Kong, Korea, Panama, Singapore, Thailand, and Taiwan, and the UAE. So thank you so much for joining us. Today, you will have a chance to hear from parents, undergraduate students, a graduate student, about the experience. And I know you're joining us yourselves as either family members, incoming undergraduate students, graduate students, or transfer students. So welcome to this event. This is being recorded. I want to make sure you're aware of this. And to start the event, I will just give a brief overview of what this event is like. As you can see from the slide, we have a series of groups welcoming you. I will also be sharing some data about the incoming class. And after all the speakers have been able to share their perspective of RISD, we will open the floor for a Q&A period. But you should feel free anytime to type in your questions in the Q&A function of the webinar. So that we can have them ahead of time. We expect this to last about 1 hour, but if the questions take a little longer, we can increase for about 15 minutes or so. And if we haven't been able to finish answering questions, we will definitely get back to you with those answers. So in terms of sharing a little bit about the undergraduate incoming class, we had over 5,000 applicants, and the incoming class includes 515 students. So it's a 16% acceptance rate for all of you undergraduates who are joining us. We have students coming from 35 states, including top states being New York, California, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and Texas, and 20 different countries. And this is just for this year's class. We have many more countries represented and states represented at RISD. And 49% of our students admitted identify as being minorities. So in terms of the graduate pool of students joining us this year, we had 2,057 applications, 305 students are joining us, and that's a 32% acceptance rate. Where are the students joining us from? The top states are New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Texas, and the top countries of origin, China, India, South Korea, Canada, and the UAE. 22% of the admitted students come from historically underrepresented groups, and 21% of the enrolled students come from this group. And now we want to have a sense of, since we've told you where the whole class is coming from, we're interested in knowing where you who have joined are coming from. So if you wouldn't mind, go to the chat function and type in where you're joining us from, and I'll shout out some places. London, UAE, welcome. Cuba, Vancouver, South Korea, Welcome, Shanghai. Ontario. Okay, so we have a number, everyone being international students so far. So we're very excited to also have Kate Sacco on the webinar with us. We'll be able to answer some questions as well from international students. She is the head of the International Student Center. But I do want to mention as well that OISS will be holding a webinar for international students on July 29th at 8 a.m. So that will be another opportunity to be able to answer many more detailed questions. This is more about sharing, the experiences of our parents, for example. So you see on the screen Ming Song and Sha Ming Chi, who are parents of one of our students in illustration. They have been part of our community for a number of years and very, very involved. I do want to thank them very much for their association with RISD. They have helped us create the international community for parents, including help us put together our website for families with a focus on international families. And they are part of the Family Association Leadership Council, as well as ambassadors. And that's a program we will mention later. And now, with no further ado, I'd like to welcome Dr. Shan Ming and Mrs. Ming to join us. And by the way, we will put on the chat their bios, so you will be able to know more about them as well that way.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Can you see me? Can you see the video?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay.
I just had to move my chat.
No, I just because the photo is on the screen shared. Welcome. I'm Shan Ming Shi, and this is Ming Yuan Song, my wife. We live in New York City. Our daughter, I just mentioned, and she's a rising senior. She's supposed to graduate this year, but with the pandemic, she took a gap year. So now she come back to the community. We're very excited about it. So welcome to RISD Family Association. This is, we are very excited to have all of you with us. This family member. As a family member of a RISD student, you automatically become a member of the Families Association. Our goal is to, there are many ways to help the students, help the new incoming student as well, and also provide opportunities for the students' future. So basically, as any parents would like to help their kids, that's what we do. We created, there's also called, Sana just mentioned, there's a Family Association Leadership Council. In that council, we also make effort to provide funding or provide opportunities to meet the students' needs. For example, we created called material funds that provide fund for students who need to have art supplies. We know all that things quite expensive. So some families, they may not, they probably need more help on that. We also try to help create internship, travel funds, and other things. So last year, as Sandra mentioned, we've been working, during the pandemic, we've been working together to create a website, especially for international students. RISD, as you can see, is very diversified and very international school, that we have many students come from very different backgrounds. They're not very familiar with what US or what the city or what the school does and how to handle things. And we're trying to provide a website, especially focused on international students and their needs. There's a link in it's families.risd.edu. You can start registering that in there and to get more information about the school and about the students. We also sending out a quarterly, I think a quarterly family newsletter and webinar series to help families support their students. If you haven't received the newsletter, you probably should go ahead and either send us or register on the website. You will be connected. That's a basic background about the Family Association and the Leadership Council and what we do as a parents. I just want to mention our own experience. We came from a completely different background than art. I'm working in the financial industry. I have a applied math background. I have a PhD in that. I just has nothing to do with art, right? My daughter decided to go to pursue her art career. It's not easy for us to transit, but we eventually embraced her choice, especially when we visited school. RISD, from our experience, is a very exciting place, very innovative. It's not just about arts, it's about life. It's about lifelong learning, how to improve our world. We've been attending several classes with the students, with the teachers. Very, very impressive. Not just what they teach, like how students learn, how interact between the teachers and the professor, and how they introduce and encourage the student has more innovative, more creative, while be more practical on problem solving issues. So we're so happy that our daughter made that choice. And since then, at the beginning, we decided to be more helpful as it was parents. Also, we got help from other parents to get involved, to get know the school. Ever since then, we've been involved more to the school. And so also, I will encourage any of you, if you want it, you can always contact us. We can work together to help our students. On one note on that is our student, okay, from my experience, they are generally speaking, very creative, very innovative, very talented. But on the other hand, I just realized that they probably need more guidance or help in the transition period between high school and college. But that's a trade-off, and that's why I think as a parent, we probably should have involved more to support them. So that's many things. Among many things, we can sort of work together to bring opportunities. We can bring funds. We can bring even just hold events. We go to speech on the events as well. So try to create a community that more warm and more helpful. So I think that's my experience. Want to share. If I have any questions or any issues regarding this parent, family, and student, you can let us know. We can work together. Make things getting smoother. And again, welcome to our community. Thank you, Sana.
Thank you, Shanming, for sharing and presenting so well the program from the perspective of parents. Now, before we jump into hearing about the experience of some of our alumni and students, we wanted to ask you to participate in a poll. If you were on a deserted island, what is the one item you would bring with you? Please type in your thoughts, and we'll see what people decide to pick. Don't be shy. See a couple of people who have shared their thoughts. The video camera option seems to be the most popular so far. Followed by charcoal. And I have to say that I have heard so many stories about students being covered in charcoal at RISD and having to find ways to remove the charcoal from all over their clothes and their bodies. There's this sticky tape that people put by the door where you have classes where you're using charcoal so that you don't drag the charcoal that's on the bottom of your soles to the rest of the building. And we do have someone who picked paintbrushes as well, but the winner is definitely video camera. So making movies, taking photos is the highlight in this group. And now I would like to move on to presenting and introducing Jill Broberg. Jill Broberg is joining us from New York City. She is an alum who graduated in 1996 from graphic design and has been involved with RISD for a very long time, including being the Alumni Club of New York co-chair. She's excited to welcome you to the alumni community, even though you're just joining us now. Hi, Jill. I think you should be getting spotlighted any second now.
Okay, I'm here.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to welcome everybody and let you know a little bit about the Alumni Club in New York City. First, I just wanted to give a little bit of background about how I ended up at RISD, and then tell you a little bit about the New York City Alumni Club, and just know that we are a club that's kind of just had a resurgence a few years ago, right before COVID. And we're very interested in anybody's input that they feel like we need to support out of New York City. New York City tends to be a bit of a challenging place because we have so many alumni here. So we're always open to recommendations and suggestions from everyone. But just some quick background. I am of Italian and French descent. So I originally went to RISD because I was interested in their European honors program and the fact that there was a winter session where you could study and travel abroad, which was, exciting for me. And the other thing was that you had an opportunity to study at Brown. So I actually did an Eastern religion minor and an art history minor at Brown while going to RISD. And I originally went for architecture, but I actually ended up going into graphic design. So I currently am still a professional graphic designer. I mainly do photo shoots for brands. And I spent half of my career working in corporation for Martha Stewart and West Elm and J. Crew. And then the other half, I ran my own business. And I've worked in technology and home. So I kind of wanted to share that because I feel like RISD grads tend to be creative problem solvers, and people in various different industries are oftentimes willing to hire a RISD grad regardless of their background because they come with solutions to a problem. So I just think it was just a beneficial thing to share, because I think a lot of times people feel like once you pick a direction or a career, you can't shift. And I've kind of shifted many times still within the role of graphic design. So I just think that's definitely a RISD trait that you'll hear again and again, that we become problem solvers and creative solution makers. And so a little bit more just about the RISD New York Alumni Club. We are, like I said, a few years back, we decided to really have a resurgence, that there wasn't enough going on to support the RISD New York community. And 2 years ago, we really kind of got re-engaged. I've been involved literally since I graduated in 1996. I moved to New York and got involved with the club, attending events. But this time we really wanted to support the community. So we really stepped it up. We had a ton of events, both live, virtual, and community ways to really make it feel like it's a RISD extension. And I feel like we've been doing a really good job of expanding that community. And then come COVID, it was actually a blessing in disguise for us because we never got to meet our other club leaders, and we've really kind of all band together. We would meet about once a month, and we would plan virtual events that then anybody could attend. And I think the goal is for us to continue that sort of synergy between all of our alumni clubs. And again, I just think any way that we can support RISD alum who end up in New York City, we're here to help. You can even email me directly, and I mean that even in terms of career. If it's, you know, people want to present, we have a lot of great people in the community. Like we have somebody who's in charge of Google recruitment. You know, he's always willing to look at people's portfolios and presentations. So we really want to expand the way that after people graduate, they have a support system in New York City. And again, we're excited to hear any questions, and you can reach out personally to me. I'm on the RISD network, so feel free.
Thank you, Jill. And thank you for pointing out as well the RISD network. We will put it in the chat so you guys are aware of it. It's a new platform we have developed so that we are able to have students and alumni connect with each other, ask questions of alums or other students, maybe if they have questions on majors or career opportunities or just want some kind of advice. And now I would like to welcome Wang to speak. Wang graduated in 2019 with a master's in architecture. And she is also part of the RISD Architects Affinity Club. She is the co-leader for that affinity club. And we have developed this past year affinity clubs, which are clubs focused on alumni's interest versus the clubs focused on alumni geographic locations, such as the club Jill participates in, who's the New York Alumni Club, but we have clubs in Portland, in Shanghai, in Hong Kong. Okay, with no further ado, thank you, Shwan, for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So hi, everyone. Welcome to RISD. So I will give a brief introduction about myself, as well as some tips for my living, my life in RISD, as well as talk about the alumni club. So for myself, I'm Wang. I was born in Shandong, China. And before I came to RISD, I got my bachelor degree from China. And then I come to RISD to get my Master of Architecture degree in 2019. And currently I'm working in Boston as an architect. So I want to share my life in RISD. So my life in RISD is kind of very meaningful. So RISD provides actually lots of opportunities from studying abroad, or you can find courses from other universities like Brown University. You can also take some online courses from other universities outside of Providence. So as another thing I want to share is, as RISD has like 3 semesters per year, which is kind of very different from other universities. So you can, especially for the special winter semester, you can absolutely choose classes from other majors. Like I'm an architecture student, but I do choose classes from ceramic, from painting, from apparel design. So during that semester, you get a very good opportunity to know about other majors and kind of get ideas from other aspects instead of your own majors or instead of your own focused field. So I think that's really helpful. It's absolutely help you like develop your interest and kind of broaden your horizon. So in a reverse, it will help your professional development. As also for the studying abroad, I want to emphasize that RISD has lots of like studying abroad programs. You can choose like either go there by a let's say the winter semester, or you can be an exchange student for like 1 full semester for the spring or for the fall semester. So it's a really good opportunity as long as you can, as long as you're interested, you will find all the opportunities in university. So I think it's really a great chance for everyone to come to university. And I think you will be really enjoy your life in university for the past like 3 years, for the next 3 or 4 or even 5 years, like 5 years for architecture students. So another thing I want to share is about our affinity group. So as Sarah said, the affinity group is just established like recently. It's not a very long history of RISD alumni, but we do have lots of events going on. So we do kind of have meetings on a seasonal basis, and we have events mainly for virtual events right now because of the pandemic. But we hope we come back to personal meetings soon in this year or maybe early next year. So the architecture affinity group is kind of a family of all the like architecture alumni, landscape architecture alumni, as well as the interior design alumni. So we are kind of a very big group. We will have like events for all of the majors kind of related with these 3. So it's a really I would say it's a really broad group. And if you have any questions about the group, or you are interested in architecture, feel free to reach out to me directly. And if you have some questions about living in Providence, or have some questions about find some interesting place to stay in Providence, also feel free to reach out to me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And we will also put in the chat a link to clubs and affinity groups at RISD, so that you guys have a chance to see the types that are available. Unfortunately, Esther Luz was not able to join us this morning. She had a last minute commitment, but I am very happy to welcome Vedica Kusalani, who is currently a student in architecture and specializes in adaptive reuse and interior studies. She will be graduating in 2022, and she is originally from India. Thank you, Vedica, for sharing your experience and answering some questions.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vedica, and welcome to RISD. I'm originally from India, but I went to high school in Singapore, and RISD has been absolutely amazing. And Providence is a very nice place, and it's I've really enjoyed my time at RISD so far. I'm a rising senior, and I'm currently living in New York City and doing a fellowship at an architecture firm for 12 weeks. Other than, I think someone already mentioned this, but the reason why I think RISD has been so amazing is that you have the opportunity to do classes up at Brown. I took a computer science class up at Brown in the spring of my sophomore year, in the fall of my sophomore year. And it's been, my interests lie in science as well as kind of design and how those two come together. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Providence is a very nice place. So I'm an international student, and it took me a while to adjust to the United States after I came from Singapore, which is a little red island in Asia, in Southeast Asia rather. So RISD is a place full of creative people, and living at RISD is amazing. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me.
I do have to mention also that Vedica this past year spoke to a number of students who were first-year students this year to help them get a sense of the items they should bring with them and how to pick a major, etc. So I know many of you, when you registered for this event, had those kinds of questions. So she will be a great resource to answer those questions, as will all our panelists and Muhandista as well, who is our next speaker. Muhandista Ali is joining us from Pakistan. She is a first-year student in graphic design, and will be graduating in 2024. Her experience actually has been different from what your experience will be because she joined during COVID. But she had an understanding of what RISD was like from participating in other RISD programs as well. Welcome, Muhandista. Thank you for speaking.
Hi, everyone. My name is Muhandista. Welcome to RISD. So as Sana mentioned, I'm from Pakistan, and I am a rising sophomore going into graphic design. So my experience with RISD, however, doesn't start here. It goes a little bit back to 2018 when I went to pre-college. And that was actually when I discovered and really came to the realization that I want to pursue art as a career. And RISD did a really great job at encouraging me and helping me solidify my dream, and figuring out exactly what I wanted to do with my life and what I love. During the pre-college program, I spent 6 weeks at RISD, getting to know Providence and the college experience. The pre-college experience is like a mini version of what freshman year at RISD is like. We have the same kinds of classes, 3 studios and 2 liberals, but so that's what it's like in freshman year. And I think during pre-college, we only had 1 liberal. So very similar, and it gave me, I feel like, the experience that I kind of missed out on this year in my freshman year at RISD because of COVID. Despite COVID though, even though the class structure was a little bit different, I don't feel like I really missed out on any learning or exploring. I think RISD did a really good job at balancing out all of our classes and also our stress levels, because our freshman year is infamous for being pretty grueling, but so useful and valuable in that way. And I don't think any of that value was lost, even though the structure of classes was different this year. Location-wise as well, I wanted to mention, being an international student, I was really overwhelmed about moving to the US and what that would be like. Environment-wise, obviously it's extremely different from where I come from, but I think Providence provided me with like the perfect location because it's very similar to my hometown in Islamabad, Pakistan. Super green, and like mixed with some urban and a lot of parks and stuff like that. So I felt really at home and welcomed. And also, it's so close to New York and Boston, which gives me the opportunity to go and experience those art hubs whenever I have the chance. I actually went on a solo trip to Boston and visited a bunch of museums, which was so inspiring and fun. And I think that's something that I very much value about RISD's location in Providence. Other than that, I also want to mention about the liberals and my experience with that. I think RISD does a great job of mixing your liberals with your studio classes. There's a lot of back and forth learning. And actually, there's a quote that I picked up from one of my liberal classes. I took a class in identity development in spring semester, and a quote from James Baldwin on the creative process was, "If we understood ourselves better, we would damage ourselves less." And that's a quote that's really stuck with me. And being someone who creates a lot of art from my own personal experiences, it was great to have that, you know, opportunity to learn about, incorporate these kinds of things into their art practices and find an inspiration. Beyond that, I was also very involved on campus because I worked at the print lab. So going into graphic design, it gave me a great opportunity to be involved in with graphic design students, as I was constantly printing for them, and I hope to continue that job next semester as well, along with being an orientation leader and a teacher's assistant. There's so many opportunities to work and earn and support yourself, as well as gain so much experience at RISD. And I'm definitely benefiting from that and having a great experience with it. Other than that, I think one of the very important things as an incoming student last year was dying to know about the social life on campus. As I mentioned earlier, we have Brown nearby, so that gives us a lot of opportunity to interact with other college students outside of RISD. There's also there's other colleges very close by to RISD and Brown where you can interact with other students as well. I know I've made a lot of friendships within and outside of RISD. At RISD, it was always nice because our classes were switched up semester to semester, so we had new people to meet. And then the Met was obviously the social hub of the campus. It's a cafeteria where we'd go during break times, and after our classes, long days of classes, we would get along with people and find people to meet there. But yeah, other than that, I think that as an international student, I was really scared and overwhelmed coming to the US and studying here, but I think RISD did a really, really great job of making me feel welcome. I know that I reached out to the Office of International Students myself to connect with other Pakistani students on campus and was able to meet and chat with them and really make myself at home. And other than Pakistan, I now really do consider Providence my home. But yeah, if you have any questions about being an international student or what classes at RISD are like or were like with COVID, I would be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Muhandista, for this presentation. It really gives a good image of what the RISD experience for a first-year student is like. Before we move on to sharing some resources in the Q&A period, I did want to quickly mention to you guys that in addition to the speakers you've heard from just now, we also have a number of staff who have joined us on this call, and they will be able to answer some questions you have as well. I had mentioned before that Kate Sacco, who's the director of OISS, the Office of International Student Services, is on the call. But we also have Erica Paradis, who's the director of the Center of Student Involvement, and will be able to talk, for example, a lot about social opportunities, clubs, etc., who are available to the students. We have Bob Samuels also, who is the executive director of Integrated Health and Wellness. I know sometimes people have questions about, vaccines, COVID, or just the support that's available to our students, both in terms of mental health and health. And we have Carolyn Vasquez as well, who's the Assistant Director of Graduate Studies for anyone on the call who is a graduate student with questions, as well as Anne Richardson, who's the Director of Operations for Student Affairs and has a great grasp of everything at RISD. I also want to send a big shout out and thank you to Marianne Han and Maria Xiao, who are helping manage the behind the scenes of this event. It wouldn't be possible without them. And now just to share a bit about resources, I would like to let you know there's about 70 plus student initiated clubs and organizations, and you will get a link that has information on how to see a list of those clubs. There's also athletic facilities. There are sports clubs. You can access the Brown gym if you'd like. If you have questions about RISD Weekend, let us know. RISD Weekend is a time when we bring parents back to campus. This year will be virtual, unfortunately still, but we bring parents to campus to be able to take a glimpse into the studio spaces and the students' life. And ask also the alumni and the students about the artist ball, which is really fun, I have been told, and from looking at photos. In terms of other resources, I would also like to mention the family's website. Dr. Shanming did mention it earlier when he spoke, families.risd.edu. It is a place where you can find a lot of resources that are open to families. There is a link that's specific for incoming first-year families and what are the links that might be most important to you. You can quickly find information information on how to ship things to RISD. I know that was a question we heard from quite a bit. How to get involved as a family in opportunities and learn more about RISD. We do also organize webinars where parents can learn more about how to support their students through the RISD experience, and we advertise those on our website. We send a newsletter as well that has information about the RISD experience, and that is sent quarterly. You will be receiving one as first-year students this month, and then another general one that is not just focused on first-year students will go out in August. And this is also where you can find information about the Ambassador Program, which is a program that connects an incoming family with our veteran families, and those veteran families can mentor and support the incoming families as they have questions during the year. It is a great resource that I would recommend joining. You can learn more about it through the website. And then finally, we want to make sure that you're aware of all our family events. So please do make sure that you have updated your contact information and that we have your latest email so that you're receiving the information to the right email. And now I would like to just share a few slides that show some of the spots at RISD. Not many, but Telegast Farm is actually a space, a green space with a beachfront where a lot of our students can come. We often see students going there to be able to paint landscapes. There's also a number of classes available there, and it's a great place to resource away from the city. There is also the RISD Museum Buddha that is very famous. It's as you enter the museum and the room with the Buddha, you really feel a sense of peace in that room. And I think it might be one of the favorites for many of our students, but the RISD Museum is a great resource, and I'm sure if you have questions about it, that many of our panelists would be happy to share a bit about their experience with the museum. And now I would like to open the floor to the Q&A period. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. And while we're waiting for some questions to come in, I will share, maybe I will bring up some questions that families had and sent ahead of time. So we did have someone ask about art supply list. I don't know if Vedica, since you're highlighted right now, or anyone would like to share maybe what were some of the art supplies that you brought with you when you came to campus.
I brought basically all the basics with me, and then mostly I think the RISD store is like a good spot to buy anything you need, especially like the charcoal and stuff that runs out. But other than that, I just got like basic stuff, and then your professors usually in freshman year give you like a list of things that you need to buy, and then you can just head over to the RISD store and pick up exactly what they ask you to. So it's pretty straightforward, so don't worry about art supplies.
Does anyone want to share any supplies they brought with them, or even outside of art supplies, anything they brought with them when they started to maybe still feel the connection with home, or just things that were important? I heard from one parent, for example, that she had a list of even medicine to bring from home to make sure that you had some of the medicine you might be used to from abroad. Otherwise, just to be prepared for the winter in Rhode Island, we do have a coat drive. So we are able to provide some extra coats and warm clothes to students as they are coming in from warmer climates. But I don't know, does anyone have any advice in terms of getting ready for winter, for example?
I guess I can chip in here because I was coming from a pretty tropical climate and I'd never seen snow before. So I was pretty freaked and didn't know what to do. But honestly, like, because being an international student, I didn't have a lot of space to bring a lot. I really just relied on coming to Providence and then buying what I need when the time came. And I think my must-have to buy as soon as winter hits is a big puffer jacket that will save your life during the winter because of the windy days and the snow. You really want to have like a thick puffer jacket when you're walking up and down the hills. Oh, and the hills remind me, you want to have like a good pair of boots, combat boots or whatever, anything with a good grip, because we have hills and when it rains or snows, it can get a little slippery. So just to be safe and careful there.
Thank you, Muhandista. Aaron Kim is asking also, outside of clothes, can anyone share any of the must-bring items? Any items to bring to the dorm?
I will let the students answer. Hi, everyone. Anu Masterson here. I'll let the students answer for any must-have items, but I will put a link from our housing site on here that has a list of items that we recommend that students bring, along with the list of items that are already in the residence hall. But if the students want to share their experiences, that would be great.
I can jump in.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You said students and no one was saying anything. Go ahead.
I'm so
Go
sorry.
ahead.
But yeah, no, I just want to jump in and say that I feel like this will depend on the kind of person you are, and it's going to, you know, differ person by person. But something for me was, and it's really random, but it was a beanbag. Because we have beds in the residence halls, but having like a nice place for your friends to sit when people come over is always really nice, and I've always wanted a beanbag, so that was something for me. But basically what I'm trying to say is you really just want to see what your preferences are and what you would like, and go for that to make it feel like home.
I'm going to just chime in one like blanket statement. Hi, I'm Kate Sacco. I'm the director of the International Student Services Office. And my biggest recommendation for students is always, there's so many things that you can buy here when you get here. Obviously, you don't want to have to buy everything, but buying winter clothes in the summer is the best suggestion I have. That's when they're on sale, and they're trying to get the inventory out. So that's one thing, but also bringing things from home that you can't get here, that when you're in those moments that you're missing home, that you just want to see a picture of your pet, or you want that certain spice or whatever it might be. Those are the things that I would recommend bringing to kind of help you feel a little bit more settled in and have things around you that make you feel loved and remembering home in the different ways that you might want to.
Thank you, Kate. I do want to mention as well that sending care packages is always an option, and you'll be able to see the shipping address too on the family's website. So if you forgot something when you reach RISD, don't worry. You can always ask your parents to send you something you forgot. Also, I know that we do help students sometimes go to the mall to be able to buy things, to go to a big store like Bed Bath & Beyond for bedding supplies, etc. And now I have a question that came in for Kate from Marie-Claudia Garcia. This question is, hi Kate, I have a question about Social Security card. It is clear for me that we have to request it once in Providence, but my doubt is, can I requested before the courses start. I am planning to be there in early August, and I wonder if I can go to the designated office to apply for the card. I already have a TA as part of my admissions offer, and I feel a little worried about being late to start working in that. And would you let me know what kind of documents I should bring? Thank you.
Sure. I'll just give the general information. We will help you with the whole process in the Office of International Student Services. We're a team of 4. And when you arrive in the United States, you can arrive up to 30 days prior to your program beginning, which for many of you is September 3rd, is when your program started. So you can arrive 30 days before that. And once you get here, there's a form on our website, which I can put the link to, that you apply for the Social Security number. If you already have an assistantship, that part is done. So we'll work with you through that process. But the answer in short is yes, you can get it prior to courses starting.
Thank you, Kate. I appreciate it. I do want to mention also that the person mentioned TAing. And also, I think both Vedica and Muhandista were TAs. So I don't know if you guys are willing to share a little bit about that experience as well. What is it? How did you get about to getting that opportunity?
I can just give you like a brief. So I was a teaching assistant in my sophomore year as well as in my junior year, and as Kate mentioned, the Social Security, receiving the Social Security number is it's an easy process. Like RISD helps you through it, and you just have to go email them, and the registrar will help you, and then you're legally allowed to work in the United States. But other than that, the way I got the opportunity to TA was through the classes I had already taken. I just spoke to my professors, or my professor spoke to me, and it was a professor that I was interested in. And through that, I got the opportunity to be their teaching assistant. It's like a good way, in my opinion, it's a good way to like learn a little bit more, as well as it's a good job. You make good money. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Vedica. I have also heard from a number of students and alums that it really helped in terms of leadership potential and speaking ability, getting comfortable speaking in front of groups. So I recommend it. I would like to go to the next question from Pornchai. I submitted my documents but haven't received my I-20 yet. I'm worried. Is there anything that I could do? I am also a deferred student from last year. Will my service number remain the same? This is a question for Kate.
We will get I-20s out to you as soon as possible. We followed up, we're almost done with the deferred students from last year. So we'll have everyone done by July 15th.
Thank you, Kate. I thought maybe I would ask another question that was brought up ahead of this event. People had questions about what to expect on the move-in date, a bit about, the schedule, about, what it is like really. Is anyone willing to jump in and share either from the staff about the process or from the students or alums about their own experience with move-in day?
I can start, and maybe Erica can chime in, and the students can feel free to chime in, but I know last year was very different than what this year is going to be like and what traditionally is. So move-in this year is scheduled for incoming new first year and transfer students for September 4th. It's a Saturday. We are finalizing the times, but looks like move-in will be between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. You will get more specific information from the housing office soon if you're living on campus. If you're an international student, there is an optional orientation on September 2nd, and we will get you times for that move-in. Again, shortly, we're just in the middle of finalizing times and getting some dates. Just as a reference for families, there is currently an arrival form that all students, all incoming, new, and returning students need to complete. So please make sure that your student has filled out the form, just so that we can make sure we're tracking when students are planning on being on campus. We don't intend on having, and Bob, feel free to chime in, but there will likely be limited or limited restrictions. So families will be allowed in the residence halls to help students move in, unlike what happened last year. But again, more specific details will be available probably in a week or two. And Erica, Bob, feel free to add anything else you may want to about orientation.
The only thing I'm going to add is that this is what we hope to be able to do in terms of keeping having more open access to the residence hall, but we are watching carefully the recommendations from the CDC and Rhode Island Department of Health, just in terms of keeping the community safe. So those guidelines will be reviewed and updated if necessary.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Anu. Hi, everyone. My name is Erica Paradise. I'm the director of the Center for Student Involvement. And whether you join us for our optional international orientation or our all-student fall orientation, please know that we have hired and are working with a tremendous team of returning students who are orientation leaders, one of which is right there on my screen, who are here to aid in your transition. So once you've moved in, know that we are working with that team of students and my team of professionals to create a few days of a lot of engaging opportunities to show you both campus, the resources that are here about your new city. Providence is amazing. We've already heard that a number of times today, and we'll take you through the city to let you know sort of what the important places and spots are, including talk to you plenty about the resources that are up at Brown. We'll do some fun things to get to know each other. And for families on the call, we'll also engage you as well in a few events on that opening day. So information will be out soon, but please know that it will be a fun few packed days of events and activities.
Thank you, Erica.
Can I just chime in one little thing? I just want to mention, like, the Office of International Student Services is obviously one of many that are here to support you as you start orientation and things. There's a lot of information that you're getting now and that you will continue to get. But all of our offices are here to help you transition. And one of the things that our office is going to be doing this coming year is we're going to have some international peer mentors that are in the Office of International Student Services. So as you kind of are transitioning, if you want some peer-to-peer help throughout the year and not just as you're getting welcomed, but that will be a resource for you as well. So I just wanted to add that in.
Thanks, Kate, for adding this. I was wondering also, another question I saw a lot was about the food at RISD. So I am wondering if anyone might want to share their experience with the food. Maybe our students, Vedica and Muhandista, can talk about the variety, if that's okay with you guys.
Okay, I'll go first. But I had a pretty pleasant experience with the food. I know that, so Pakistani and Indian cuisine is pretty similar. So I know that the Met made an effort to incorporate that sometimes and have that come in. And there's also a lot of other cuisines that the Met was always constantly switching up and bringing in on a week-to-week basis. There was also, I think it was a week or 2 weeks where recipes from Black culture were brought in and shared with the students, and students could also chime in and send in their recipes to the Met or the portfolio. I think there's like little sticky notes and stuff that people could write on and send in their recipes or email and stuff. So I think in terms of diversity and inclusion, I think food services at RISD did a really good job of trying to make everyone feel included.
Thank you, Muhandista. Anyone else want to chime in about food?
Yeah, I can add some. Yeah. So
Thank you.
as an Asian, I would say like there are lots of great Asian food around Providence. You can find like absolutely great Korean food, which is very near to the campus, like 10 minutes walk. And there are lots of Chinese restaurants, very great, which is around the hill near the Brown University. And there are also lots of like sushi and ramen place. So I would say it's really a diversity of food, and absolutely you can find like some also new American food as well as some Mexican food. So I would say as long as you want, I mean, there are lots of choice for you, so you don't need to worry about that. And another thing I want to mention is it's very close to New York and Boston. So if you want to really try something very unique and something very different, you can just go there. It's pretty convenient. Yeah.
Thank you, Chuan.
Yeah.
I do want to point out as well that Johnson & Wales is a culinary school that is in Providence as well. So as a result, we do have quite a variety of great restaurants in the city, in addition to just our dining services having a high reputation with a great variety of foods. I think it is past the hour, so I am going to close the event. I would like to thank everyone who has joined and welcome you all to RISD. I want to thank as well our panelists for joining us to share their experience and answer questions. But we, as you can see from the slide, we cannot wait to see you in the fall. And this slide is actually from RISD Craft, which is an event we hold every fall in October, where alumni and students are able to have booths and sell some of their crafts. People from the community and from the larger RISD community come to attend this very special event. But with no further ado, I want to say thank you and welcome in the fall.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Welcome. Bye-bye.